Hello, Church of God family. I hope everybody's doing well and that you are surviving this order to stay in place and stay at home. I would like to just reach out to everyone and share with you some things that God has shared with me. And I want to let you know that everything will work out in the end. God is our refuge and strength, always ready to help in times of trouble. So we will not fear. You know, life is dangerous. We found this out with the coronavirus pandemic. Its infection rate seems to be 10 times that of the flu. And in the 8 weeks we've known about it, more than 24,000 are infected and 282 plus people have died in the United States alone. The picture in the world is much worse, about 304,000 cases. And at this point, and it's probably more at the time of this sermon that I'm giving, but 12,983 deaths is what we know about, and more seem to be on the horizon. Are we afraid? Yes, we are. Are we panicked? No, we are not. Psalm 56 says, "When I am afraid, I will trust in you, God." We are trusting God to work it out. You know, I mused on the number of times the term coronavirus was mentioned in the media in the past few weeks, and probably too many times to count. And then I asked, how many times has God been mentioned? My guess is half as much. If we're not careful, this pandemic will become larger to us than the God who forgives all our sins and heals all our diseases. Jesus counseled his disciples long ago. He says, don't freak out when bad stuff happens. Well, he actually said, see to it that you are not alarmed or troubled over the bad stuff that's coming against us in this world. You know, these things are like wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes, famine, pestilence. But today I want to share hope with you. I want to share the hope of Christ. You know, in our human nature, it seems like we tend to magnify the terrible and minimize the good. But Jesus said, see to it that none of these things, or that you're not alarmed by these things. And that term, see to it, means that we are to pay additional attention, to give special focus and have extra resolve to not panic. Our human nature tends to magnify the troubles and the terrible, minimize the good, as I said before, but Jesus wants us to see that all things flow out of the purpose of God and serve to accomplish his good will. Paul said, and we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. That's Romans 8:28. So focus on the end of the story. All things will work out. It'll work out for good. Coronavirus seems to be out of control, doing whatever it wants, but God is in control. He's looking in on our affairs right now. He has placed a limit on how many people this disease can harm. And as Max Lucado stated in his book, Fearless, everything will work out in the end. If it's not working out, it's not the end. Max tells the story of Admiral James Stockdale, who was a prisoner of war for 8 years during the Vietnam War. When asked how he survived 8 years as a POW, Admiral Stockdale replied, I never lost faith in the end of the story. I never doubted not only that I would get out, but also that I would prevail in the end and turn the experience into the defining event of my life. When asked about those who did not make it, he said, some were optimists who said, we'll be out by Christmas. And then when that didn't pan out, we'll be out by Easter. and then Thanksgiving. When those dates rolled around and they were still POWs lost in Vietnam, they lost hope and they died of broken hearts. I would like to give us something to battle the fears that try to come upon us and try to overwhelm us during these times. Every time you hear a bad report, every time you hear more people being affected or more people dying, it tends to try to make you panic. But I want you to do this. Write this statement out. Everything will work out in the end. If it's not working out, it's not the end. Because God is our strong refuge, our ever-present help in trouble. I'd like to read some scripture to you. Psalm 46, 1 through 11. It says, God is our strong refuge. He is truly our helper in times of trouble. For this reason, we do not fear when the earth shakes and the mountains tumble into the depths of the sea. When its waves crash and foam and the mountains shake before the surging sea. Selah. The river's channels bring joy in the city of God, the special holy dwelling place of the Most High. God lives within it. It cannot be moved. God rescues it at the break of dawn. Nations are in uproar. Kingdoms are overthrown. God gives a shout. The earth dissolves. The Lord of heaven's armies is on our side. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. Selah. Come, witness the exploits of the Lord who brings devastation to the earth. He brings an end to wars throughout the earth. He shatters the bow and breaks the spear. He burns the shields with fire. He says, stop. Recognize that I am God. I will be exalted over the nations. I will be exalted over the earth. And I believe we can say, God will be exalted over coronavirus. The Lord of heaven's armies is on our side. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. God bless you all, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.